First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello and welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. I wanted to pull it up right there because, as you can see, it's August, but it's kind of gloomy. It's a little bit gloomy outside right now, and there's a potential for some rain over the weekend. You can go to KPTV.com, of course, and check out the weather there. They've got all the details on that, but it is a good reminder for something we're going to be talking about here today. And again, this is Fox 12 Now. We live stream here every weekday starting around 1 p.m. and going throughout the afternoon, covering a wide range of topics. But on Thursdays, 1:30, generally speaking, we are joined by Eric Gordson from around the house Northwest. And Eric, always good to have you on here, but it's so timely too for this topic. As far as I know, you were thinking, like, you know, before the rain, like this fall, all those projects that we have to get done, and then now we've got a perfect reminder potentially coming up this weekend of why it's important to get it done.
Thanks, brother. Always a good time. And yeah, what happens is, we enjoy these dog days of summer, right? It's like it hasn't rained in forever, or if it did maybe just a little bit. And we forget about all those basic things that maybe we should have maintained because we were out having fun. It's summertime. Last thing we want to be doing is home maintenance stuff, right?
Yes, 100%. But it is a good idea because just to remind yourself that once it does start pouring down rain, that's when you really don't want to be doing it.
No, and all those skipped steps that you did because you were out on the boat or out having a good time, that's the thing. It's like they'll come back and bite you. So right now, even though we got rain coming on Saturday, it looks like it's great time to dive in and tackle some of these projects. Sometimes it's a little more involved, but it's stuff that's going to pay off in the long run, and they're still great DIY projects.
And so going through those, what are some of the big ones that people can be thinking about right now to get done?
First thing is just making sure those gutters are clean, and just they're all of that stuff that's blown out of the trees and maybe the little bit of roofing stuff that's, sloughed off into them. They're just kind of a catch-all for whatever ends up there. So it's a great time to get that cleaned up. It's good for prepping for wildfire season anyway. But since it's probably really dry, it's probably the best time to clean that out before it gets mucky, because at least it's going to be kind of dry. So it's not going to be that smelly, moldy mess, or as much of it as it will here in a few weeks.
Yeah. Oh, and that is real gross if you don't do it in time.
Yeah.
I am the person who procrastinates sometimes on that stuff for cleaning out the gutters. I don't want to do it, and then it's much better to do it now.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it. You can get up there with a little scoop and do it manually. There's a lot of little tools. I think I was in Home Depot the other day and I saw that they have a shop vac tool that goes on your vacuum that you can lay in there and vacuum it out and go that route if you want to. So there's a number of ways to do it. I'm kind of old school. I make a mess. I get up there with my leaf blower and just blow it out when it's dry, and it's a lot easier to deal with. But, make sure they're in there, make sure they're fastened in. But beyond that, there's a couple of maintenance things that people forget about. And one of them could be doing a ton of damage to your house that you're not even aware of.
Oh, and what would that be?
So what it is, your gutter system and your downspouts come down. Those need to go into a storm drain system to get that water at least 10 feet away from your foundation. And so we see this around, and this is what's keeping a lot of foundation companies in business right now. Is in Portland, 40 years ago and older, they were putting the gutters and downspouts right into the sewer system, and it was all mixed into one. And a number of years ago, Portland said, hey, we're gonna take all that stuff out of the water system, and we're gonna give you some tax credits to disconnect it. And that way it puts less water into the sewer. We have less to treat, and you can keep it on your property. The problem is when people took these and disconnected them, they just kicked them out into the yard. And now that's, 20, 30 years later, there's some homes with some serious foundation issues where they're spending $30, $40, $50, $60,000 to fix what they did 30 years ago. And if you've got that situation, you can take care of it now, and that'll be a really big savings. And I'll tell you how to do it here real quick. It's actually a pretty easy DIY project.
Yeah, that is absolutely something that I know that you brought it up before. I paid attention to my gutters and my downspouts and all of that stuff as far as keeping it away from the house. But that was interesting because I just didn't think about it.
Yeah, so all you have to do is get under there with like a 3-inch or 4-inch ABS pipe and call before you dig, of course, but you just want to dig a trench and run those downspouts into that pipe. And then you can send it out at least 10 feet away. You can dig down and put a dry well in, or you can actually go a little farther away from the house. They make these cool little green pop-ups so it can come up, and pop up and water the lawn out there as long as it's kind of downhill from the house. And you can still use that water for, watering your lawn and stuff like that and put it out there. But that also keeps that water out of your basement as well. So if you've got a basement or crawl space, that's also moving that away. And if you don't want to do the digging, you're like, hey, you can either have somebody like John's Waterproofing come out. They do that a lot where they fix those gutter systems like that. And then the other thing is, if you've already got it, about every 5 years, you should have a plumbing company coming out there and hydrojetting those to make sure all that junk that's been in your gutters that keeps washing down into it still works correctly. So I did mine. It was a hot mess. I don't think it had been done for 25 years. And it was mostly plugged up. And I did that last year. And about every 5 years, if you do that, you'll have a system that works really good. That way, when we get those heavy rains, it's not sitting there bubbling back out of the ground and not doing anything for you.
Yeah, great idea to have somebody come out and take a look at that. So, again, these are all things to do now before that rain starts happening.
Absolutely. And if you're up there on the roof, it's $100 or more to buy a fall protection device. You can put the harness on so you don't go falling off the roof. It's pretty dangerous up there. And that's a good time to inspect your roof right now. Get up there, when it's not screaming hot outside or it's slippery and slimy like it would be in the spring. You can get up there, take a look around and inspect it. Make sure you don't have any missing shingles, that kind of stuff. And if you're scared about that, there's plenty of roofing maintenance companies that'll come out and do that for you. They'll clean the roof off and make sure that you don't have any moss and stuff that's going to degrade that roof and make it not last as long as you want it to.
So yeah, another good thing to have people looking. Yeah, the getting up on the roof is terrifying, but as you've talked about before, some of those harnesses, it's worth it. It's worth it. To
Oh yeah, like that. Absolutely. And if you do it right, you can go up and get the harness and you buy 3 or 4 of the rings, depending on the size of roof you have. You can fasten those up there. So you've just got places to tie off on and then you're safe and it's good to go. But making sure that you can really do a lot of roof maintenance to make that roof last a lot longer. So that way you're not spending, $25,000 or more to put another one on. If you can get an extra 5 or 10 years on that, if you don't want to do it yourself, that's awesome. There's plenty of soft wash companies out there. You just don't want to pay somebody out there with a pressure wash and doing damage.
Yeah, for sure. So get that taken care of now. Anything else that you think is important for people to think about?
Just making sure that everything's fastened on the house. Sometimes if, it's an older house, they've got nails instead of screws. And sometimes when wood dries up, it kind of shrinks up a little bit and all of a sudden it's falling off. Just make sure everything's fastened. You can go down to the hardware store and get extra clips, depending on whether it's a 5 or 6 inch gutter, whatever size you've got. You can go down and get the right clips and add them in there if you need to. Just make sure everything's tightened up and ready to go. And that way you're ready for those fall rains or the summer ones like this weekend potentially.
Yeah, or the one this weekend, which is a good reminder that is happening. So that way you'll remember that. Oh yeah, I don't want to do this when it's doing this every single day. Just one day we'll give you that good reminder. Well, and then we've got more around the house Northwest coming up as well.
We do. One last quick tip when it's raining outside. Walk around your house. Make sure they're not leaking. When it's pouring rain, put the rain jacket on, walk around and make sure that you don't have any other problems that maybe you missed. The only time you catch that stuff is when the water's coming down and you might as well let Mother Nature do the test for you.
Yeah, that's a great thing for this weekend. If it does rain at all, just use that opportunity to go take a look.
Check it out. Take a second.
Yeah.
So
all right.
We've got a lot coming up this weekend on the show. Tons of stuff, but I'll give you one little tease here. I'm going to show you how I've got a pressure washer that I rebuilt because it had been sitting outside. It didn't start one day. And of course I have a couple pressure washers. So it just kind of got put in the back. And so it was very weathered and kind of got it restarted. And I show you how to go through and get it fixed and get it running because this thing hadn't run for a couple years. And so I show you how to go through and fix it all up, get it all going so you can get that cleaning done.
I have a pressure washer that may be in that exact situation. I haven't started it up this summer, so I'll be watching that for what I may need to be doing.
So a lot of fun, and we'll be talking about that. And we got some other stuff coming in there. You're just going to have to watch it and check it out.
All right. And when, where, and how can people watch?
All right. If you missed last week's show, don't worry. It'll be rebroadcast tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. on Fox 12 Plus. And of course, brand new show on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. And then that will rebroadcast as well, 6 p.m. on Sunday. And then we've got getting close to 500 videos over on YouTube.
Yes, so many that you can go check out. So just go there to the Fox 12 Oregon YouTube channel and you can see all of that on there. And as always, Eric, really appreciate all the advice and tips and tricks. And if people are watching right now, if you go to that YouTube channel, you can share those videos as well. So let somebody else know, let your friends know to do the work now before when it's nice out, before
Absolutely.
the rain comes, and check out all those other advice videos and great things that we've got up there. And yeah, as always, good to have you on here. And for everybody watching, this is Fox 12 Now. We appreciate you tuning in. We are here throughout the afternoons every weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So if there's breaking news, we have that as well here, but lots of things to cover. So thanks for joining us. Thank you, Eric, and we'll talk to everybody soon.